Hi there, welcome back to Transfer Talk. It is time now to take an in-depth look at a player who's attracting a lot of attention, including from Arsenal and Fiorentina's Dusan Vlahovic. As you can see, I've been joined by Sky Sports digital journalist Nick Wright. Nick, really good to have you here this afternoon. You've been having a much closer look at the player. What have you found out?
Well, he really does look like one of the most exciting strikers in Europe right now. He's physically imposing at 6'3", fast, powerful, technically very good, but most importantly, he's absolutely prolific in front of goal. Now, he's been at Fiorentina for a few seasons, but it's only really in the last year that he's exploded, and his total of 33 Serie A goals across the calendar year was the second highest in Europe's major leagues, as we can see here, more than Haaland, more than Messi, more than Ronaldo, and only Robert Lewandowski actually scored more goals across the year. What's really significant, of course, is that he's done that at just 21 years old.
Yeah, I mean, he is so young. I'm going to ask you, what is it that makes him so attractive to Arsenal in particular? But it might be a silly question, actually, having just seen that graphic.
Well, I think the goals are the main attraction, aren't they? And certainly Arsenal have struggled to get goals from their strikers this season. If we compare him to Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang this season in terms of the output, we really do see a big difference. So Vlahovic's strike rate of 0.85 goals per 90 minutes is far superior to Aubameyang's. He generates a really high volume of shots as well, 3.6 per 90 minutes, which is always a good sign for a striker. There are also stylistic factors as well. So Vlahovic wins more duels. He has a real presence in the opposition box. We see that with his touches there, and he's strong aerially, more headed shots than Aubameyang, and that's something Arsenal really need, I think. You know, Mikel Arteta has put a lot more emphasis on set pieces this season. Only Man City, Chelsea and Liverpool have scored more set pieces, so I think Vlahovic could really add to their threat in that sense.
And would you describe him mainly as a target man then, a bit of a goal poacher?
Well, he definitely has those qualities, and we can see that if we look at his, where his goals have come from in Serie A this season. So, there's a really high concentration of goals from quite central positions, from relatively close range in the middle of the box, as we can see from his goal map on the left there. He scores a lot of goals from crosses and cutbacks. He's good at finding space in the box, but he scores other types of goals too. He's very good at striking the ball from distance, as we can see there with a couple of the long-range efforts. And he's an excellent penalty taker as well. 12 out of 12 penalties scored during his time in Serie A. I remember Arsenal have missed 3 out of 5 of their last penalties. So he's not someone who only contributes in around the box as well. His actions by zone map there shows he's in fact most active in deeper areas where he tries to link the play, and he provides a real threat on the counter-attack as well.
Yeah, we seem to have covered quite a lot already, but what else does he have going for him?
Well, the other big thing to mention is his character. So this week I spoke to one of his former coaches at Partizan Belgrade, his boyhood club, where he was brought into the first team squad at just 15 years old, and this is Žarko Lazatic. He was the assistant manager at Partizan at the time. Here's what he had to say here. So, after 1 or 2 training sessions, our head coach said, "This guy is a monster. This is a player who will be worth 100 million euros one day." And then we put him up against our vice-captain, and he pushed him around like he was already a first-team player. He showed things that were unbelievable for a player of 15. So, real single-mindedness there. He also talked about the player's obsession with becoming like Zlatan Ibrahimovic. And I think we've seen that personality at Fiorentina. He's only 21, but he's taken on huge responsibility, basically carrying that side, while they've been fighting relegation as well for lots of last season. So I think that personality is another part of the attraction to Arsenal, really.
Yeah, and I think even as a neutral, watching the Premier League is the kind of character that we'd all get excited to see in the Premier League as a character. And Nick, thank you so much. We really appreciate your insight and for joining us on Transfer Talk today. Well, we actually put those reports to Mikel Arteta this morning, linking Arsenal with a move for Vlahovic. He wasn't giving too much away, though.
I'm really sorry to disappoint you, but you know that I'm not going to be discussing any transfer rumours, and I never done it, and obviously we cannot do it. Historically, this club has always been targeting the best players in the world, and the best players in the world, they were always interested to come here. And I can say that that situation hasn't changed. So every time I have spoken to any player, they were so willing to come. I haven't faced any other situation, and that's one of our biggest powers, and our capacity to get the attention of people to come and join our club is something that is a big advantage for us.
Yeah, so Arteta not giving too much away, it is fair to say. And I think Nick summed it up really, really nicely in terms of the kind of player that we would and could see if he does come to the Premier League. Indeed, I love those quotes that Nick brought us from one of his former coaches. This guy is a monster. This is a player who'll be worth 100 million euros one day. He's obsessed with Zlatan Ibrahimovic, 21 years old. He scores goals. He's got an amazing character. Anton, I don't know what more you can add to what Nick said, but how exciting would it be to see someone like this in the Premier League? We're
going to be the ones who are going to interview him. I don't particularly want to interview a monster and someone that comes across like Zlatan, but that's okay, that's fine. I'm looking forward to seeing him on the pitch. And look, what we've seen, I mean, Nick's summed it up perfectly. I think he's a fantastic player, and it's not just his goal record, but the fact he can score from anywhere in and around the box is really exciting. And if you think about the potential striker market in the summer, you've got Kylian Mbappe, who we know is out of contract, is Real Madrid's the favourites to sign him. We won't see him in the Premier League. Haaland is available, we know, for a certain price in the summer. He's not guaranteed to come to the Premier League. Dusan Vlahovic, we'd love to. We want all of them in the Premier League, but if we can get at least Vlahovic in, it gives. There's something special about a striker signing, a young striker signing, and how excited we were when we found out Lukaku was coming back to the Premier League this summer. If we get that again with Vlahovic, I'm going to be hyped. Yeah, and there's no chance he's overhyped in the sense that there's a potential that he may not fit into the style of play in the Premier League. No, not at all. I mean, like I said, because of the variety of goals he scores, I think, and the fact he does link up play as well. I think that's why so many clubs are interested. And it's okay, fine. It's an 18-month sample size, but it's an 18-month sample size of such success. And he's still only 21, that I can see why clubs are really excited. Yeah, well, what about potential outgoings at Arsenal? Eddie Nketiah hasn't signed a new contract at the club, and Arteta had this to say about the striker.
The situation is that Eddie is our player, and Eddie is going to stay here with us.
So he won't be going anywhere in January?
He's our player and he's under contract, so he will stay with us.
Yeah, so Arteta reiterating Nketiah is an Arsenal player. Mark, what is your take on it? It seems like Arsenal want to keep him, but what do you think is in the player's best interest?
My take is I feel sorry for the reporter trying desperately to squeeze some information out of Mikel Arteta on players coming in or out of North London. When you look at Nketiah, it's one of those situations, really. He's just lacked game time. When you look at this season, just the 3 appearances in the Premier League, no goals. He's been a specialist in the League Cup this season with 5 goals in 3 appearances, but he's just not getting the game time at Arsenal. And very much the same last season, 6 goals in 28 appearances. You thought he might push on. He's a part of that young project, that youthful energy that Mikel Arteta has got in the team, the likes of Emil Smith-Rowe, Bukayo Saka. There's young, hungry, exciting players. There's a good project there, but he just feels like he's on the fringes of it. I think the best thing perhaps for Nketiah, and maybe this is why he hasn't signed a new deal, is to go and play football and prove to people that he is a top-class player. He can get goals and potentially could be one of those players that down the line could be really exciting. But to do that, he just needs to play games.
Don't you think, though, he is, because of what's going on at Arsenal at the moment, with Lacazette's contract situation, but specifically Aubameyang falling out with Arteta, and we don't know what his future's going to be, he's 1 injury away from potentially starting 4, 5, 6 games in a row. And that, regardless of what club he goes to, they're probably not going to be as big as Arsenal. So for the next 6 months, why not just give it 6 months and see if he can finally give it a push and either sign a new contract with Arsenal because he's proved himself in the Premier League with them, or gone to other clubs, hey, look what I can do at the highest level.
Well, that's maybe the option.
Yeah.
Maybe sign the new contract at Arsenal, commit your long-term future to Arsenal, but say, look, I'll stay, but I want to go and play games for the second half of this season. Goes out on loan somewhere, hopefully in the Premier League, scores loads of goals, goes back to Arsenal in the summer and goes, right, I'm ready for it now.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on that one. One done deal to tell you about today concerning Arsenal. Folarin Balogun has joined Middlesbrough on loan. The move is a straight loan with no option to buy.